believe, like you are mentioning, it's the road can be treacherous for some more than others, because obviously there are challenges along the way, and we will have the naysayers, we will have them. There is no doubt about that. We will be criticized the more we help others, and the more we are successful. We are attracting more people towards us. Some people will like what we're saying, others might criticize us. So it's a natural part of our growth. And the most important thing is, like you're mentioning, is to have a support system also, a network of trusted individuals that can help you along the way, as the journey can be lonely. Can be lonely, because obviously this is your idea, and even though you portray it and explain it, no one believes in your idea. Like we were mentioning startups, we were mentioning businesses. Nowadays I sit with founders that have been in operation for 10 years and 15 years, with family businesses that have been operating for 40 plus years, and still, Daniel, they find that the difficulty of letting go, because this emotional attachment that they have with the idea of their own initial idea that they had 40 years ago, it's extremely difficult for them to believe that they can actually let it go and allow others to be able to create and co-create with them. They feel that they can do it on their own. So I think in each and every aspect of the trajectory of a business, whether when there's somebody starting up, or it's a fully fledged run business, a small, medium-sized, we have a lot of SMEs locally on the island as well. I believe that everyone goes through the same symptoms in different ways. And it's so powerful when one realizes that in order to achieve growth, in whichever aspect one is looking at growth, because growth is a very wide term, is to be able to change whatever is not working.
Okay.
Because if you are going to continue doing the same things day in, day out, from as simple as an individual, for instance, what you're saying, that I would like to dedicate more time to my family, for instance. As I'm working a little bit too much, whatever is too much is irrelevant. That's, the right balance. So I would really like to find the balance, and during the weekend, that's it. I switch off from my laptop, I switch off from my phone, and I dedicate my time with my family. Then Monday, I ask the question to the same individual, like, okay, so what happened during the weekend? I only had a meeting until noon on Saturday. So again, what I'm trying to say is that if we continue doing the same things without making minor changes to our behaviors, to our routine, to our attitudes, we will end up achieving the same results. So really the discipline of saying, no, this should change, this is going to alter. I'm going to dedicate time, I'm going to make space to allow this dream that I have to go actually forward, or actually I need to save to be able to do something different. So because we end up in meetings, or I end up in friendly conversations, even with my friends. I don't know if it happens to you, Daniel. However, it's like, and we're discussing the same issues and the same challenges, or the same problems of what is not allowing us to achieve something, for example.
That is where I draw the boundary then, because it happens to me, so first of all, and that is where I draw a boundary. In what sense? That if I am, so I'm tend to be a good listener most often, obviously because of my line of work. So I tend to listen and I don't mind that. But if I'm listening something on repeat and I notice a pattern there, I usually flag it out to the person. It can be a friend or a very close friend of mine. And if the person is always stumbling in the same spot and the person is receiving advice from me or other people on the same thing and giving a blueprint on what to do to get out of that sticky situation, whatever that may be, and the person is still being stubborn and repeating what they are already doing, that is where I draw the line and say, listen, I've already told you my suggestion. I would prefer to speak about different things when we meet. Because it becomes one-sided. The conversation would become one-sided. So, and
what happens when you take it into a work context, Daniel, however? Because with friends, maybe drawing boundaries, I find it, especially with close friends, it might be easier.
Yeah.
However, within a work context, when obviously you need to draw some boundaries because of behavioral changes that you would need to enforce within a company, because otherwise you're creating a precedent, for example.
Yeah.
How would you do that? How would you deal that if the individual repeatedly, consistently insists of continuously doing the same behavior?
I would shift accountability. So let's say, if we take a step back, there needs to be a structure in place first of all. So if there is a structure in place, the person is, arriving late at work, which is very common. So the person is arriving late at work, and there is a system. There's the handbook and HR, there's the employee handbook or the manual, and there are rules, policies, procedures, and you have to be at work by this time, if it's specified. If it is specified, and the person is not abiding by that is already there are grounds for disciplinary action in the context of work. Now, let's say we don't want to, because I take discipline very seriously in the sense that, to me, the disciplinary approach is very linked to the company's mission, values, and sort of culture that they want to promote internally. So you might not issue a warning, for example, but you might find some form of collaboration with the individual. So, okay, arriving at 8 might be difficult for you, but what would you say would be suitable enough time for you to come to work? I think it's 7:45 might be reasonable. So you're saying that from tomorrow you can start arriving at work by that time. So it's about using coaching strategies in a way to have the person arrive. And I shifted accountability. So I'm not punishing the person. I'm being understanding to the point that I know the structure. I know that the person knows the structure. If not, I make them aware of the structure. But then guiding the person to a position where both me as the company and the person are comfortable in working. So trying to not accommodate.
Interesting way of shifting accountability. I think it's, especially with the younger cohorts and younger generation, it is more and more effective. It's becoming more effective of having this coaching approach rather than the hard and fast rule with the disciplinary action, whereas it should still be there, because I believe that there should be boundaries that if not respected, then one needs to escalate them. However, before even getting there, and one should actually avoid getting to arriving at that stage, one would, doing the coaching and mentoring approach, as a leader, that was my preferred methodology and as a preferred option, to lead as a coach, to lead as a mentor, to be able to motivate and inspire others through a coaching and mentoring approach, even through my C-suite team. And I believe that is really, really effective, effective. Because you can, it's also very versatile, and it cuts across, not simply the younger generation, but even across the board, even with others that are maybe used into more rigid systems.